Hello, everybody. Welcome to our webinar 2025. Today, we will go over the new platform we like to present called PlayBox Neo Suite. You know, PlayBox has been for over 25 years on the market as a provider for playout graphics, broadcast automation. I've been with the company for 15 or 25 years. Uh, and in the last couple of years, we've shown some components of this optimized workflow. Today, we would like to present to you the full platform with all the capabilities, how this platform can benefit your workflow, and how you can easily use it in a very simplified one-channel configuration or scale it across multiple servers and so on. So after I finish my presentation, I will expect your questions, and we'll be happy to answer them together with my colleagues. So without further ado, let's start the presentation. Okay, so the interface of PlayBox Neo Suite is very simple to access via browser, which makes it convenient for operators on the network so they can easily switch between their worksheets or different components of the services. They can be managed by different people and so on. So first, as you can see, I have my dashboard here with a one server that I'm using right now, which is this very computer on my desk. I see basic information about CPU, RAM, storages to this machine, and so on. Also, we added convenient logging system so you can see everything that happens with the system and later on troubleshoot when needed. Of course, you have your multi-viewer. I call it multi-viewer, and you see single source, but we will see the other sources just in a second. We can define input-output parameters. We can define storages, ingest, emergency alert system, external devices, and system triggers. We will go over this in a second. Before that, I want to show you this diagram, which you can find on our website, to explain what is the PlayBox Neo Suite. Basically, it allows you to have focal point, a hub, where you can deal with all of your uncompressed domain signals, SDIs, NDI sources, different video cards connected to any of the machines in the system. You have decoders, encoders, ingest with multiple formats, ingest. We'll go over this in a second, and multi-viewer with alarms. So you can set certain alarms on the signal. We will go over this in a second too. And then we have the compressed domain where we can take UDP, RTP, SRT, ZXC, RTMP, output in re-encode signals in this format. We can implement service transport stream time delay. So basically, you can create your +1 hour, +2 hours, or whatever delay necessary to create this time zone channels or so on. We implemented recently with the recent release the RIST protocol, RIST, Reliable Internet Streaming Transport, which it becomes sort of a sort of better version than SRT, kind of upgraded, supported by many companies in the broadcast community. Also RTP with redundant links, which allows you to be SMPTE 2022-7 compliant redundant stream, where you can have the streaming going to two different interfaces or two different providers. Let's say you're in a remote location, you're broadcasting, and you have two different internet providers, and the receiving side can again monitor both streams. And if packets from one stream disappear, it can take them from the other. So you have a great uh, level of redundancy and so on. We have switch groups to allow if a signal is disappeared or something happened with the playout to switch to another. We will see this in detail also. So let's begin. First, as I said, I have an airbox here, right? Playing with the graphics, which is great. And I have only one output showing right now, one source showing in my multi-viewer, but I can add the other ones. And you can see I have here, I just turn off the audible alarm so it doesn't interfere with my talking, but you can have audible alarm if something happens with the signal. And let's say I'll go here to my time delay demo and I'll deactivate it just to show you what happens. You see now the blinking red because there's no signal. If I allow the alarm, you can hear that too. I'll stop it for now. A new part, a new sort of implementation is how in Airbox the graphics are mixed with the picture. For example, if we go to our output modules, you can see the mixer settings. And now the title box is like another source with the alpha channel. So basically, I tell him the graphics layer, the graphic layer of this playout to take signal from the title box, right? But I can select any other source here. And if this source is, let's say, NDI video file with alpha, I can select this for my overlay, which is very convenient. So here you see I monitor only what the title box is showing, the graphics. So right now there's no graphic overlay, therefore nothing is showing on this source. I don't have my time delay. It's a 10-second time delay. I'll engage it in a second. I mentioned the time delay. Let me go and select it. I can set it very simple, give it a name, where to cache, and how long is the delay. That's it. I can make it active. Currently, I feed it from one streaming output, but I can go and select another one and say take, or I can go here and say take. For example, now you can see the delay is 10 seconds from this one. You will see it while we're going through this. Okay, so I got my different streams. Let me just show you in my input outputs first. Services, I can select basically what hardware I have on the machine. NDI, I can make a definition here. What's the service? I can select my Blackmagic card, for example. It tells me which card. I can configure it from here because some of these Blackmagic cards you can configure inputs or outputs on the connector. So very convenient. You see the model, you see a little diagram, which is handy. After I start defining my input sources, and as you see, some of them are streams, some of them are virtual sources, like this is the virtual output of the airbox, virtual output of the title box. I have one streaming switch group. What is this? This is the feature I mentioned before, where you can have a redundancy. Let's say this is my one switch group. The switching is automatic, which means once the system detects a discrepancy with the signal, I've shown you here, sometimes you see the red or the yellow blinking frame and audible signal. We define those alarm settings per server here. So you can see there is if 5 seconds there is a black, there is alarm. If it's a freeze frame for 5 seconds, it's alarm. If audio goes over the threshold, which I have right now purposely on -15 dB, so we can see some audio overages on some files, they go to -10, and so on. You have your video alerts in red, yellow alerts for audio, orange, if you have both audio and video alert triggered simultaneously. So going to our switch group, I have two sources, not machines, two sources. One is the main, is this source SRT loopback. It's one encoder from the PlayBox main output, SRT format. And the second one is the output of the delay, the transport stream delay, 10-second delay. I can add more than two. So basically, if some discrepancy happened with the main, it will switch to backup. If the backup fails, we'll go to the third one if I have one. Otherwise, it will go back to the main one. Basically, if you are on the backup and you want to go back to the main, you have to do this manually. We've done this, so it's sort of to make sure that everything is working fine before you switch back to main. But if the backup fails, it will try to go to a third one if you assign it, or go back to the main if it has an active signal there. Okay, so let me go right now to my sources. You see the yellow blinking, which means the audio is higher to -10 dB. You see we have very handy audio level meters here. We can monitor 1 to 8 and 9 to 16 group of audio channels on these sources. So let me open my Airbox. I will put it here, and I will pause it. So now this is the group it paused. This is my switch group. This is the output. Freeze detected, and you can see it switched to the delay, to the 10-second delay line. So now freeze detected also on the delay because it's delaying the main line that I froze, but I resumed the main playout, and you can see after it detects that this is okay and the freeze is over, it's going to switch back to the main, as you can see. Automatically did this scenario that I explained to you. This is how this switching and redundant playout, you can do redundancy on streams, and you can define multiples of this, of course. Okay, the time delay, I've shown you what is doing, and you can monitor here the bandwidth. So let's go and check our ingest capabilities. PlayBox Neo Suite has very comprehensive ingest capabilities where you can do multiple instances as much as the machine can allow you, of course, the hardware. But let's say in my setup, I define on this particular instance what's my primary format, which is this particular format for ingesting. I can select secondary format. In this case, I have like compliance H264, which probably this is NTSC. I should select the 25 frame, since this first one is a 50, but in your case, you have to match them or not. And then I have to select auto split. So this way, I'm telling on how many seconds, minutes, hours to split the file, which will create just separate files on the storage. And you will see why this is handy after we go to the next part, where we have in ingest, we have auto transfer templates. What does that mean? Is I can create a template to tell him this file when it's finished, which means auto split, it's closed, the file, start copying or moving to another location, which is another storage device, storage area, or somewhere on the network, server on the network. So this way I can, let's say, free up my ingest buffer on one machine, and also I can send it to, or a copy of it, not move it completely, to, let's say, your video editors, and they can start working on the first, let's say, 10 minutes of the ingest. And then every 10 minutes, the auto split will work, and this will happen automatically. Naming templates, we can have also naming templates, which I can define timestamp, let's say, then whatever label comes from this field, or I can say name of the channel. I have multiple parameters to put inside the name, so I can have a proper naming of my files, and this will help sort of as a metadata to the following system, some other editing or so on. Metadata templates, I can define these categories, and they can be associated also with. So in my ingest, I can do manual ingest, and I can do scheduled ingest, of course. Another very handy new feature is marker templates. What does it mean? It means that I can go again to my template here and create, let's say this is for a football, soccer game, and I can assign to the numeric keys 1, 2, 3 to 0, so 10 keys. I can assign some descriptions, let's say goal, corner, penalty, give a different color, and all of this, while it's ingesting, if I'm watching while it's ingesting, I can do these marks that stay with the file. This information can be used later in video editing in Premiere, for example. This way, somebody that is monitoring a live game can add valuable metadata to the file. This way, video editing later on, you can do easily based on this markers, some editing, or decide how quickly to make takeouts, and so on. So there is a number of improvements under the hood of the system, as usual, with every new iteration in the graphic layers, in smoother graphics and all of this. Video encoders we can use. If I go to my outputs, and I can go to encoders, for example, this is the one encoder. I can make a configuration for this encoder, and I can decide in the inputs, all of these sources. For example, what to use here? What to use is a decoder. I can use a CPU or one of my GPUs. I have four instances on this computer. So again, optimization, you can do more with a single machine with the proper hardware, because this way we can kind of do more with a machine with a proper graphic card and still decent CPU. Okay, so let me show you another very cool feature. As I mentioned, emergency alert system in the United States, you're aware this is a system where a specific server a signal is sent to this server and it overlays over the picture some government issued alert or state issued alert. We've demonstrated this before. You can see it on our YouTube channel. External devices. So we added control signal. We can read control signals from a 10 video switchers family. For example, I can just show you this one very carefully here. This is a 10 switcher, and I have, 8 camera sources, but I can program events when I press each of these buttons, something to happen in my playout system. And I will show you the template right now. If I go to my first, let's do it here, triggers. As you can see, I have defined number of triggers that will do some events. For example, logo 1 will show if I press the port camera 1, the button camera 1 on the switcher in preview source. So there are different states in different switchers, so you can choose what to select here. And you will see how these are, I define them here in the system. Then in Airbox, we go to modules, we go to trigger input. As you can see, I'm defining what to happen with logo 1, show logo preset 1. I have something put on another button, resume, queue next, which will go to the next one, next on the list, and queue it, freeze the first frame, and so on. So let me just close this so you can see what happens. I will try right now. I'm waiting for the graphics to disappear. But anyway, if I push 1, you can see the news logo showed up here. If I press 2, my live logo showed up. On button 3, I have hide logo. If I go and select one of my, I think number 7 I selected, this do pause, then I can go and do resume and so on. Let me just go to this switcher here. So this way I can go and continue doing this type of commands that can go and easily be performed and associated with, let's say you switch camera, go to the server, can go and queue the next file. So when you switch the next video source, it will start playing. All of this can be easily integrated with the 10 video switches. So now this kind of finishes my presentation part. Let's do the questions and answers part. So any questions you guys have, please ask us. If you come up with a question a little bit later, please call your local representative or representative, I mean PlayBox Neo representative, not your state representative, of course. And our engineers are online, our support, they're always online. So yes, SNMP traps we have on implementation on some part of the system. If anything specific case you have, please contact our guys, so they will do it. They will help you with absolutely, guys. Thank you also from myself for attending this. And also I want to mention first, if you want to meet us in person, probably your part of the world is a little bit far, but Broadcast Asia and CapSat in Dubai is this month. Anybody around there, please stop by, say hi, have a chat, see what's new, play around, hands-on experience. Soon, of course, the NAB just passed, so we're very excited to meet a lot of people there. Also, all of these webinars, after we finish them in a day or two, we will post them on our YouTube channel, where you can see the latest one or all of the new, all of the new, all of the stuff there as a videos, previous videos, all the topics we've all discussed. Mark Siegel asks for traffic system interface. Because all traffic systems are very, how to say, they're very specific. We have several integrations with different vendors. But again, it depends on which system you want to integrate with. Of course, there is a number of interfaces that this works, but with some we have already done interface. I will ask one of my colleagues to go in details, because I'm not familiar with this particular traffic system that you're mentioning, BXF. But we will check with you, and definitely we'll see how this can be resolved, because all this integration with traffic systems, with MAMs, news systems, we have integration on several levels. But everything is very specific for the particular workflow. I don't know anybody on the market that just has something that is universally implemented and it works in every scenario. It's a specific workflow that you have. You have this traffic system, we have this playouts, ingest, and so on. So we have to put them together, of course. Perfect. Mark Siegel, Mr. Van Dyck is your guy there. He will assist you with the task, with the questions you have. So let's see. Can you control the Neo Suite with the REST API? My colleague is writing you an answer right now. Yes, we have a REST API for controlling SCT commands. SCT commands, we do this for the SCT 104 and 35 in the streaming, 104 in the SDI domain. We do have implementation of this if you want to use our servers for ad insertion and all of this signaling. Of course, we have this also implemented. Okay. The IP outputs we have right now are, let me just stop the screen share for a second. The IP outputs we have so far are UDP, RTP, RIST, as I said recently, SRT, RTMP, RTP with the dual link redundancy. You can see this information on our website. There are a full list of all this uh, parameters. Okay. Thomas Rue is asking, can you send REST API to other devices as events? My colleague is answering him right now. I'll let him answer it so we don't do things at the same time. As I mentioned, guys, again, we understand very well the broadcast workflow, and we understand every specific workflow with your particular cases. And if you give us a call and describe it, we'll be able to help you the best. You can have multiple outputs, as I mentioned, in multiple ingest in our different formats. We can set up multiple streaming outputs in different formats, or translate, let's say, SDI encoded as some streaming format. You can have one source into multiple streaming formats of the ones we have. You can do transcoding, receive SRT, but output it as a RIST. Basically, we take it, decode it, then re-encode it in the other format. So it's a very powerful media hub. Let me just do a quick share of my screen. And so you can see again this graphic that I keep showing you, it's on our website. You can see the formats. This brochure, actually, we will update shortly with a couple more standards we just added recently, literally in the last month or so. And you can see how you can absolutely take any signal, convert it to another signal. For example, I can use here the input outputs of my system. Let's say if I have my outputs here, okay, I have my Blackmagic card. This is what you see behind me on the video wall. This is the output, right? But I can select any source to go onto this output. Basically, like a switcher, I can select any of my defined sources here in the system. Let's say what I've got to put there, the title box only. So this is title box only with alpha channels. So this is what I'm overlaying over the video picture. And as you can see, it has a little bit of red warning here that it's selected, but it's not live yet. So if I say take, you can see that this probably will black the screen until we get something, as a graphics next, whatever comes to the system. So you can use it as a simple switcher inside your, let me just go back to my main. You can see the screen there. So yes, all of these little features are perfect. Yes, we can do picture in picture. As you saw probably in the video, there is a new scenario where we can do shrinking the video, and there is a L-shaped graphics. Okay. I'm trying to. Yes, you can output IP and SDI all together at the same time. I can define multiple destinations, so outputs basically, and select what goes on every output, any of the defined input sources in my system. Can you generate QR codes from title box? If we generate QR codes, you want to do something specific, like links or something? If you have anything prepared with the QR codes, depends where the link is going, because we don't have implementation of what to do with the QR code. You have to kind of have something built. If it's a link, you just put the picture. We don't generate them. You generate them in anything you want, because some people want, let's say, their logo inside the QR code and so on. So this is your graphic decision, how they want it to look, to follow the graphic design. I understand. We'll take it into consideration, but currently we just import external picture, which is a QR code, and place it, fade in, fade out, whatever, in the graphics, in the context of a graphics layout. But we do not generate them inside the title box yet. Again, because as I described, QR codes, you can generate generic ones, but some people like to put their logo inside the code, and to look more to their liking graphically based on something they have. So it's a very specific implementation. Okay, okay. Thank you guys. Thank you, Van. Thank you, Thomas. Who else I have here? Mark Siegel, thank you. I'm probably missing somebody, but thank you again for joining. Again, if anything specific comes to your mind, please contact the local PlayBox Neo representative, our support guys and broadcast engineers, with any question of your workflow. You have a current system you want to upgrade. As I mentioned here, I have one server, but this can be multiple servers defined in the system. Can utilize, let's say, one only for ingest, one for playouts, and so on. So you can do all this scalability in your workflow. See how you can upgrade your current system to take advantage of some of these parts. This can be installed on a single computer, as I shown you here on my demo computer. Of course, it's one machine, and I have all these features to access. So you definitely can benefit even. Oh, thank you, Fernando, too. You can benefit from the workflow, I'm sure, in any scenario you have. Okay, guys. So I think we're all good. Thank you for joining us, and I would like to wrap up this. See you next time at the next trade show, or here in the webinar internet space. Be good and talk to you soon. Cheers.